Hello, hello, my bookish friends. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. My name is Alex. I am super glad that you are here. Today, I am stoked to be talking to you guys about one of my absolute favorite topics, one of my favorite types of videos to watch and to create, and that is anticipated releases. Books that are coming out in January to March of 2023 that I absolutely cannot wait to get my hands on. These are just the ones that are super high up on my radar, so absolutely, there are going to be lots of books missing from this list. Let me know in the comments what are some of your most anticipated releases for the first 3 months of the year. I would really like to know because maybe there are some that I am missing and would love to have on my radar. So please drop those in the comments. I'm super curious what books you guys are looking forward to picking up in the beginning of the year and reading. Today, I mostly have YA and adult fantasy to talk to you guys about. In the timeline, I will section it off by genre, so if there's a specific genre you want to jump to, and then at the very end, I do have one mystery that I'm gonna throw in. But today we are pretty fantasy heavy. That is just what I'm looking forward to in the first 3 months of the year. I will have videos coming out later in the year talking about the subsequent months that I'm not covering in this video, and we do span some more romance and mystery in those months. But for whatever reason, the beginning of the year is very fantasy heavy, and I'm here for it. I'm ready to dive into some great fantasy reads in 2023. So I'm here with my oatnog latte in my Taylor Swift cup that my husband got me for Christmas, which I'm absolutely in love with. And I am super ready to get into this. So get comfortable, get a snack, get your Amazon wish list ready because maybe there will be some great ones that you are interested in pre-ordering. Let's get right into these anticipated releases, starting with YA fantasy. So starting us off on January 3rd, we have A Ruinous Fate by Kaylee Smith, which is a debut YA fantasy release that I am really looking forward to. This book is about a cursed witch in a world where magic is based off of a dice game, which sounds super interesting. There is a deadly prophecy foretelling the end of witches and magic, and our main character is very close to fulfilling this prophecy. Somehow she has to end up teaming up with an ex-boyfriend and his attractive older brother to venture out into the mysterious wilderness and hopefully save the world from utter destruction at her own hands. This one sounds super interesting to me. I have already pre-ordered it. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this one and checking it out. I love supporting debut authors, and this concept with witches and the dice sounds super unique. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out, and hopefully it is a great read. Also releasing on January 3rd, we have Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Amelie Wen Zhao. This is a YA fantasy novel inspired by Chinese mythology, which is something that I just absolutely love reading about in books, so this one sounds really magical and wonderful. It takes place in a kingdom called the Last Kingdom, which has been invaded and colonized by outsiders. We follow 2 young practitioners of magic that has been outlawed by the invaders. They team up with a rebel group to use this forbidden magic to try to overthrow the invaders. And along the way, they might unleash some demons that have been very long asleep. So this one, I just really love Asian folk tales and just the magic that brings to a story. So I'm really looking forward to diving into another new one this year. Next up on January 17th is a sequel novella that I am so excited about. It is The Mysteries of Thorn Manor by Margaret Rogerson, and this is a follow-up to Sorcery of Thorns, which is just such a lovely standalone YA fantasy, but I am super glad that we are getting another glimpse at these characters in this follow-up novella. And without spoiling anything from the first book, in this one we follow some of our favorite characters from the first book as they are trapped inside of a manor magically, and they are trying to figure out how to get out in time for the midwinter ball. So I'm really looking forward to revisiting this world and these characters. Sorcery of Thorns is such a magical story with enchanted libraries, grimoires, just everything you could want. It is such a fun read, and I love a good YA standalone. However, Thank you, Margaret Rogerson, for giving us just a little bit more of these characters that we love. Next up, on January 24th, we have Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. I am really looking forward to this one. I love a good Arabic-inspired fantasy world, and this one sounds so unique and interesting. We follow Imani, who is a young woman who has been trained to protect her city. She is really powerful, and we love a strong female main character. However, her brother has actually betrayed their city. It is a hidden magical city with powers that are brought on by this substance called spice, and he has stolen this spice, and she has to go and track him down before he reveals the source of their magic and the location of their city to outsiders. So I'm really intrigued by the concept. I just love this type of fantasy world, so I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this one, and hopefully it will be another fantastic read. Next, jumping to February 28th, we have another sequel that I cannot wait for. It is Immortality, A Love Story by Dana Schwartz. This is the sequel to Anatomy, A Love Story, which came out last year. I am so looking forward to this one. Anatomy is such a fun read, and I'm hoping that Immortality is just as good. In Anatomy, we follow a young woman named Hazel in 19th century Scotland who is trying to become a surgeon, which is not something that women are supposed to do in that time. So she is making a deal with a professor to try and get into school to become a surgeon. We also follow a young man named Jack, who is a resurrection man, digs up graves and sells the bodies, and these two end up teaming up to help Hazel get into school, but also to uncover why Jack's friends are disappearing and maybe some more sinister things that are going on in the city. So I'm really looking forward to the sequel. I believe this is a duology, so I believe it's wrapping up, and I think this is going to be another excellent read. On March 14th, we have another debut. It is Flower Heart by Catherine Bakewell, and this is a standalone. Sounds very similar to me to The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, which I absolutely adored, so I'm really hoping we get similar vibes. In this story, we follow a girl named Clara who has extremely powerful magic. However, as she gets older, this magic becomes more and more uncontrollable, and she accidentally blooms a poisonous flower inside of her father's chest. So in order to be able to control her magic and save her father, she teams up with a former best friend of hers named Xavier and makes a sinister deal with him so that he will help her save her father. By striking this bargain, Clara might get more than she was looking for and uncover a darkness in her world that she is the only one with the power to stop. So I just love the witchy cottagecore floral vibes of this one. I am really hoping that it's super atmospheric, because I think that this concept could just be a world that really sucks you in, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. On March 14th, we have another debut. This is Midnight Strikes by Zeba Shanaz. I'm super sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm trying my best. This is a time loop fantasy, which makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not the biggest fan of time travel stories, but the concept of this one sounds really good, so I'm going to give it a shot. It's got a little bit of Cinderella vibes, and we are following a commoner who is attending the royal anniversary ball. And at the end of the night, there is some sort of attack. And after the attack, she wakes up and relives the day over again. She ends up having to team up with a roguish prince in order to save the royal family from this attack and get herself out of this time loop. So I'm really intrigued by this concept. I hope that this ends up being one that I really like. And the last one in our YA fantasy category, we have come to the end of March. On March 28th, we have A Door in the Dark by Scott Rainchen. I'm super sorry, I do not know how to pronounce his last name, but this one sounds really interesting to me. I was immediately hooked by the comparison to A Deadly Education. This is a fantasy thriller about 6 teenage wizards who are traveling home from school and end up stranded in the wilderness by a malfunctioning spell, and when they arrive there, one of them is dead. So Already, I'm super hooked by that concept of a fantasy thriller, and with each of these characters hiding secrets and something sinister following them through the forest, it is going to be a fight for these children to make it home alive. So this one just really gripped me. I am really intrigued by the concept, and I think this is one that I'm going to be pre-ordering because I just have to know what the heck this book is gonna be like. So that is all of the YA fantasies from January to March that I am super looking forward to reading. Next up, we are going to jump into the adult fantasy category. So starting the adult fantasy category off strong with one of my most highly anticipated releases of the entire year, that is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, the sequel to Ninth House, which is one of my favorite novels. I absolutely love a dark academia. It is dark and it does have a lot of trigger warnings, so definitely check up on those before diving into Ninth House. But in this story, we follow Alex Stern, who is the sole survivor of a multiple homicide that is unsolved. And after this traumatic event, she is offered a free ride to Yale in exchange for joining a secret society that regulates the other secret societies at Yale and their occult activities. This book has paranormal, this book has a little bit of romance, this book is so intriguing. I am really looking forward to finding out what is going to happen after that ending, and Hellbent is definitely at the top of my list for 2023. It comes out on January 10th, so we're getting close. Then on January 19th, we have Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. This is an adult fantasy debut, and it sounds super interesting. In this book, we follow a mercenary who makes her living killing gods and then ends up having to team up with a god that she is unable to kill, as well as the little girl that is bound to this god and a retired knight. And the group of them have to journey to a city that is the last place where gods still exist in the wild in order to ask for favors and answers to the questions that they all have. So I don't know a ton about the plot of this one. I don't feel like that synopsis really gives me very much, but I'm intrigued. This one also sounds like one that my husband might be really interested in, so it might be fun for us to pick up and read together. Then on February 14th, we have a Valentine's Day release, and that is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chachki. And this book sounds so good. It is a gothic, romantic, a little bit maybe horror, mystery, fantasy, just all the vibes. I am sure that this one is going to be just spectacular. I have no other expectations other than it is going to be absolutely immersive. I'm blown away by this synopsis. So in exchange for her love, Indigo asks only that her groom never asks questions about her past. However, when the couple is drawn back to an old family home of hers, things start to come to light about her childhood friend who went missing, and her husband has to decide whether he is going to start digging into her secrets or let them lie and let their marriage go on as it is. This one just sounds so dark and twisty. I'm really looking forward to it. The cover is absolutely stunning, and I need to get my hands on this one. Then on March 7th, we have The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. And this one sounds super interesting. We have a retired pirate who is brought on for one last job to rescue a wealthy woman's kidnapped granddaughter for a lot of money and stability for her future. But there may be more to this girl's disappearance than Amina was first led to believe, and this mission may be a lot harder than this pirate had anticipated. So this one just sounds like such an interesting, like, high seas adventure. I love the strong female main character, the retired pirate. Yes, I'm here for that. So this one sounds super good and I'm looking forward to reading it. However, I have yet to read the City of Brass series by this author, so hopefully I will get to that one first. That is it for our adult fantasy new releases, but I did want to quickly mention a couple of cover redesigns that are also coming out in the coming months for some great adult fantasy series. Starting with the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. This is a upper YA adult fantasy series that I adore, and it is getting new covers on February 14th. So if you're interested in checking out those new cover editions. Those are coming out very, very soon. The Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson is getting new covers, and those ones I have not read, but I am intrigued by, and I may pick up a set with the new covers. So I just wanted to quickly mention those in case anyone was also looking out for those types of releases. These books have been out in the world for a while. You can already read them, but if you were looking for those redesigned covers, keep your eyes out for February 14th. And then to round us out, my one single mystery book that I wanted to throw on this list is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun by Elle Cosimano, the third book in the Finley Donovan series, which is such a fun ride. I have read both of the first two, and I'm super looking forward to reading the third one as well. This comes out on January 31st. I will probably rent the audiobook from my library, because I've been listening to them all on audio and I really enjoy the narration. This is such a fun, like, comedy mystery story about a woman named Finley Donovan. She is divorced, she has 2 children, she's trying to make ends meet as a mystery author. And one day when she is sitting at Panera Bread with her agent, talking about the plot of her new mystery novel, the woman sitting at the table next to her mistakenly thinks that she is a hit woman and hires her to kill her husband. This series is full of hijinks, full of like crazy, just ridiculous comedy that is so fun, a little bit of romance. It's a great time. I highly recommend it if you like kind of a goofy, out there, silly mystery story. This one is so much fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to finishing the series. I'm not actually sure if this is the end. I'm definitely looking forward to getting to this next book in the series and seeing if it's over. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this video. Those are the January to March 2023 releases that I'm really stoked about. Again, please comment below if there are ones that you are looking forward to that I didn't put on my list. I really want to know about them. And if there are any that you heard about from this video and now you're interested in reading them, let me know that in the comments as well. I would really love to know what sparked your interest from this list. So that is all that I have for you today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I appreciate that so much and it helps me out a lot. If you're interested in more content from me, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you join my little community here on BookTube. And that is all that I have for you today. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye, friends.